Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hey, folks, today is Monday, May 11, 2026. We're live here in the nation's capital early. Normally we go at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's 5 p.m. Eastern. Just starting up right now behind me, as you see, Bishop William Barber and Repairs of the Breach are having their More Mondays here in the nation's capital. Bishop Barber has just gotten to the mic. They've got a number of different speakers. They're going to be talking about the issue of this war, also the budget, its impact on poor people, and obviously the issue of voting rights in this country. Guys, let's switch shots. Let's go to the other shot. Again, they're here in front of the White House. They've been having a number of Moral Mondays over the last year, speaking against this administration, calling them out for their actions, and again, in their budget actions as well. And so what we're going to do is let's go live to the podium right now.
Right. The big posters up. All right, and you'll be right. This area, we keep it open so we have straight lines for the cameras. We're being live streamed to millions and millions of people right now. Let's thank all of our live streamers. Let's thank all of our video. Come on, let's thank them. We got now. Time to time, we might say drop your posters so we can put our hands together. We can open up these our street. Who's straight? Who's straight? Bring this mic up. Bring this volume up. Bring this volume up. I need 2 American flags because we're not gonna let folk take the flag. We're gonna straighten it out. Right there. We need 1 more. The veteran. All right. Good, we got the look. All right. All right. Y'all turn it up for a while for this music and put your signs down for just a second and clap your hand. Then we're going to pick them up after the music. We want to go with the music and then Miss Hannah's going to take over. Come on, come on, come on. Come on.
Building your wealth on the backs of the poor, no more war.
Good afternoon. It's great to see so many lovely people out here today. My name is Pastor Eric, and I'm a pastor at Hope Lutheran Church in Clinton, Maryland. So hopefully they can hear me all the way into Maryland. Let us pray. God, we have heavy hearts. Blood's being spilled. Money's being wasted. People are not getting justice. We speak about faith. We pray about hope and love. And those three words go together. And with our faith, we have hope that the right things will happen in this country so we can love each other. That's what it's all about. Justice is love. Amen. And let it be so.
I am Reverend Dr. Hannah R. Broom, National Director of Religious Affairs for Repairs of the Breach. No justice? No peace. Stop the war. Save lives. We've come from synagogues and sanctuaries, from the Freedom Church of AME Zion and Franciscan communities, from the AME, from Adventist to Unitarian, from the Lutheran parishes, Presbyterian and Christian church congregations, and from the conscience of those who claim no creed but justice. We come from labor unions and picket lines, from classrooms and hospital corridors, from the bedside of the uninsured and the kitchens of the working poor. As those who have been failed by every system built to serve them, we showed up anyway. We are diverse in our doctrine. We are united in what we are demanding of you, Mr. President. We need you to hear us, members of Congress. Every tradition here teaches the same truth. Human life is sacred. Not some lives, not a few lives, but all lives. The earth is not ours to destroy. The poor are not disposable. Those sick deserve healing. Workers deserve dignity. Immigrants deserve welcome. Children deserve a future without the shadow of war. So hear us clearly, Mr. President. Hear us definitely, members of Congress. When you deny voting rights, our faith condemns it. When you deny health care to the most vulnerable, our faith condemns it. When you choose an unholy war over peace, our faith condemns it. When you deny living wages to the working people, our faith condemns it. When you defund public education and silence our teachers, our faith condemns it. When you ignore a dying planet and silence the alarm, our faith condemns it. When you strip dignity from immigrants, from women, from the poor, from the marginalized, our faith condemns it. We are not one denomination. We are not one party. We are not the opposition. We are the consequence. We are the moral conscience of this nation, standing on your doorsteps because you work for us. History is watching. God is watching. The spirit of humanity is watching. And we are not going anywhere. Choose peace over profit. Choose people over power. Choose justice before justice chooses you. Love forward together. That is our covenant, and that is our demand. You're going to hear from so many different voices from every walks of life. We're going to hear from a veteran, Robert Branham.
Bring this if you can, Mike, up. I want us to be Check, check. We're going in. There we are. There we are. So, all right, somebody said, forward together. Now, we've asked speakers, as Reverend Broom just said, and shaped our framing. She named the forms of violence that are connected to violence. Our escalation is that for a few weeks we were over there on Black Lives Matter Street. Now we have taken the street in front of the White House in the middle of rush hour in D.C. Each speaker will speak to another issue of violence. We've asked all the speakers, you don't have to speak on somebody else's issue of violence. Stay right there because we want folk to be clear. Each speaker has got what we call the 2-minute or the 150. Why 50 words? Because we are taking all of this and using it throughout social media to drive consciousness. Somebody say there's a purpose to the method. There's a method to what we're doing. And this is why we wanted to have voices. Not people who speak on behalf of people, but voices impacted. Now, there are about 3 speakers who will take a little bit more than 10 minutes. One of them is Phyllis Bennett, who's going to come from the Institute of Policy Studies and really lay out for us some things about this war we're not hearing in the media. Another lady is going to be a person with conscientious objection because we want this to be a place where people who decide to make that decision can in fact know exactly what it means and how to do it, all right? Those persons will have some extra time in the midst of this gathering. At the end, my job is going to be to try to pull it all together and synthesize it before we either go to Pennsylvania Avenue or we decide right here to engage in a form of nonviolent civil disobedience. We should also give a mighty shout out for all of the other places across the nation. Come on, let's say forward together. Come on, forward together. I do want to ask the mic people to keep the mic up. We will modulate, but keep it nice and loud. We hope that some of it trembles right on over there in the White House and some other places. All right? Remember to celebrate people as they come. Take the time, because we know mean folk will take all night doing wrong. We ought to be able to take a couple of hours doing right. All right, my brother.
Greetings and salutations, beloved. My name is Robert Vincent Branham. I am a Washingtonian. I am a military service-connected disabled veteran. The Constitution I took an oath to preserve and protect and defend guarantees freedom for every American. Freedom is for everyone. Freedom is for the people, the 702,000 people who live in the District of Columbia. So as a veteran, I say, we want freedom for D.C. Freedom for D.C. Freedom for D.C. God bless you.
Denied statehood is violent.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, D.C. and the world. These are hard times for all of us, for poor and low-wealth people here in this country, and for the people under the bombs and facing genocide around the world, often paid for by our tax dollars without our consent. Do you hear that, Mr. President? There are many kinds of violence. And we know that the U.S.-Israeli war against Iran right now, one of the most violent immediate places right now, is immoral and illegal. It is a war of choice and it is a war of aggression. It is illegal here in the United States and it is illegal under international law as well. The cost of that war so far is over $50 billion of our money. You know what we could do with that money? We could put 1.5 million people on Medicaid. We could have 305,000 university scholarships. We could put 727,000 children into Head Start, and we could have a living wage for 117,000 families. What's going to keep us safer? What makes us safer? Having uniformed, armed National Guards walking around our streets. Does that make us safer? No. I don't think so. That is policy violence. And it's designed to prepare us. It's designed to normalize the presence of armed, uniformed soldiers on our streets. So when they show up on Election Day, the people who look like me, who were born in this country, might not worry all that much, because they're not coming after us. They're coming after the people of color. They're coming after immigrants who are now citizens and have the right to vote, but they don't want them to vote. So that is another kind of violence. In Gaza today, where the genocide continues, the U.S. has paid almost $28 billion directly to the Israeli military to pay for that genocide. They promised $10 billion more. In 2024, just that 1 year, our tax money paid 40% of the entire Israeli military budget. We paid for the genocide. That is our country's violence. The cost there, if the genocide continues, and it does. Yesterday was Mother's Day. The day before, 17 people were killed by Israeli bombs in Gaza. On Mother's Day, the mothers of Gaza were in mourning. 3 of them were children. 1 was a baby, only 6 months old. The costs are massive. The costs there are in lives. The cost in Iran, 3,500 people killed so far in this war, of whom 175 were children, killed the first day in their school. Remember that? Shame indeed. And the shame is on us and on Israel, who launched this war together. There is no ceasefire. We need accountability. We need to stop allowing our money to be paid to continue these wars. And when we fight for justice here, when we fight for jobs and health care and education, we know that that fight is not complete until we include the Palestinians and the Venezuelans and the Iranians in our fight. Thank you.
Stop the war. Save lives. We are going to hear some voices denying peace, but choosing an unholy war as they come.
I'm Sandy Sorensen, and I'm a formerly member of the National Staff of the United Church of Christ, where I work here in...
Those of us behind us, we have a thing. You don't talk while other people are talking. We can't listen to us. We can't expect them to listen to us. So if you're behind this podium, there should be no conversation except amen. Go ahead, Sandy.
Formerly a member of the National Staff of the United Church of Christ, where I worked here for over 30 years. Now, just a couple weeks ago, right here at Black Lives Matter Plaza, at one of our Moral Monday witnesses, a school psychologist spoke, and she talked about a conversation she had with a 10-year-old student, and he asked her, so if we bombed a school in Iran, does that mean they're going to bomb a school here? And if they do, might his school be the target because he lived near the Capitol and that would be in the blast zone. All is not well with our children today. All is not well when terms like blast zone and lockdown drills are part of children's daily reality. And when schools and hospitals and refugee camps around the world do in fact become blast zones. All is not well when there are thousands of children in the wealthiest country on earth who wake up in the morning not sure that they will get enough to eat. All is not well when children cannot go to school and focus on learning because they're worried their parents may not come home for work. All is not well when mothers and children are killed in their own homes as victims of domestic violence, an epidemic that is rarely acknowledged. Now, you cannot say, well, there's just not enough money. This is just the way things are. This is just what we need to do to be safe in one breath, and in another breath, propose $1.5 trillion in Pentagon spending for the next year. This is not just the way things are. This is a world created by policymakers who prioritize profit, power, and insatiable greed, and we can choose differently.
Say, stop the war. Stop the violence. Now, I'm going to have to do something. I will try not to do this. Everybody was supposed to come with 150 words. We can't get all these speakers, and preachers especially. We're good for that. Now, I'm going last because I'm going to be longer by design that folk ask, okay? But we need you to do a statement, a rally, 150 words, because you're doing violence to the people behind you. Because in an hour, y'all going to be talking about, we need to move on, we got to quit. We want to get every voice in, am I right? Now, I'm doing this for Hannah so y'all won't be mad with her. I don't care about me. But we got to do that, right? We can do that. Can we do that? Because we gotta speak to everybody, all right? So turn to your neighbor and say, let's do good to each other. All right, come on. Next one up.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudia Allen. I serve as the Executive Director of Adventist Peace Fellowship, and we gather in a moment that Scripture would recognize. Last month on April the 8th, the White House published a press release entitled Peace Through Strength, Operation Epic Fury crushes Iranian threat as ceasefire takes hold. This declaration of peace in the midst of war calls us to the words of the prophet Jeremiah when he said, they have heeded the wound of my people lightly, saying, peace, peace, when there is no peace. As I stand before you today, there is no peace. No, beloved, these are not the children of peace. They heed not the command of Christ to be peacemakers. These are the makers of war. The dragon says, we bomb you in the name of peace. The dragon says, we will draft your children in the name of freedom. The dragon says, we will starve Gaza. We will surveil Tehran. We will sanction the poor, and we will call it Christian nationalism. The dragon of Revelation 13 says we will spend $900 billion on weapons and tell you there's no money for your grandmother's insulin, no money for your child's lunch, no money for your veteran's surgery. It's the dragon that says peace, peace, when there is no peace. The Adventist Peace Fellowship calls upon our neighbors of every faith and those of no faith at all, the Catholic and the Quaker, the Muslim and the Jew, the Mennonite and the Methodist, the Baptist and the Lutheran, the Episcopalian and the Evangelical. Stand against this unholy war. May the God of peace, who is greater than the men of war, make us troublesome.
Rabbi David Schneider from Mount Colel here in the Washington, D.C. area. This Pharaoh has inflicted tremendous damage on the progress this country has made regarding climate change. This past Sabbath, the Jewish communities read from the book of Leviticus, where God instructs the people about caring for the earth. We are called to give the earth a sabbatical every 7 years. It is a mitzvah. We are reminded that we are stewards of the earth. We learn about climate justice and that the health of the land is necessary for the health and sustenance of all humans. Trump's policies have resulted in higher energy prices and more climate pollution, further endangering the health of millions of Americans and way beyond. He is underdoing programs that would protect us. Together we must be strong for climate protections. We must stand up and fight for the health and safety of our communities. This is Leviticus' word. The word, God's word, teaches us we are, after all, partners with God in guarding the earth and taking care of each other. We can't wait. Our climate can't wait. Our children can't wait. We're already suffering from more frequent hurricanes, flooding, raging fires, more drought. We, the people, must stand together to overcome this idolatrous regime. We must convince Congress to find the moral courage to address climate change and protect us, the people. We choose life. We stand here together to say no to the evil acts of this administration.
That's right. Denying climate change in our environment is violence, policy violence. We will now have Jamelia McKinnon and Lily Golden. And Clinton.
Hi, my name is Lily Golden. I'm here as an Appalachian State student. Growing up in North Carolina public schools, I was taught that government is for the people. But I have witnessed my peers, my neighbors, my friends, and my teachers suffer at the hands of the very same government. If the government is not for the teachers, students, and the poor, then who is it for? I asked my representatives, Tom Tillis, Ted Budd, and Virginia Fox, to ask them that very question. Who are they representing? Is it not students, teachers, or the poor? It doesn't have to be this way. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jamelia McKinnon, and I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina, where I studied agriculture and environmental systems at North Carolina A&T State University. I'm here because the earth is our only home. There's no backup planet, there's no replacement. The air that we breathe, the water that we drink, or the soil that we grow our food, that is it. Protecting our environment is not only a political trend or a side issue, it's directly tied to our health, our communities, and the future generations. When we provide clean air, clean water, and healthy ecosystems and sustainable policies, we are not only protecting ourselves, but also our future and the planets and animals that make our life possible here on this planet. We need political leaders who are understanding and care about this planet and the means for caring for people. Environmental policy is not a human policy, but it's also a policy that deals with people. The planet thrives when we all thrive, and vice versa. So forward together, not one step back.
I'm Laura Vio. I drove over here from Harrisburg area, Mechanicsburg specifically, so I could tell Mr. President a story. I was not surprised to hear that my nephew enlisted in the Army last fall so that he and his wife, who both work, by the way, could have health care because they had a baby on the way. That baby arrived as Drew finished basic training, and yet another ceasefire stopped. Your Department of Defense, Mr. President, continues waging this illegal, immoral, multi-billion-dollar war as millions of Americans endure the violence of your cuts to programs that make food and health care affordable. My nephew is not unique in weighing the hope of a reliable living wage and benefits against the risk of combat duty. a risk that increases every day that your enablers in Congress refuse to vote against this unjust, unholy war. A risk that would be unnecessary if Congress ended the policy violence that enriches corporations and leaves ordinary Americans vulnerable, hungry, and unheard. We see you, Mr. President, and we will not look away, and we will not be silenced.
Say that together. We will not be silent.
Be silent.
Bring this mic up some. We will not be silent. Stop the war.
Stop the war.
Save lives.
Save lives. Denying health care is violent. We're going to hear some voices concerning health care.
I'm Reverend Dr. Della Owens Barber. Mr. President and members of the Congress and MEGA, I stand here today as a pastor of Eastern North Carolina. And this morning when I hear a news report of a mother and a father who have been separated from their son who is 18 years old battling stage 4 cancer, but finally getting a chance to see them on Saturday, but he dies on Mother's Day. That's violence. And I know what it's like to live with an incurable disease, lupus, along with 1.5 million other Americans who need life-saving medical treatment. 1 in 4 lupus patients still receive health care through Medicaid and Medicare. And I've had 3 siblings who needed dialysis due to lupus nephritis, and not having access to health care is violence. My father, who lost his health care that was tied to his job and not his humanity when he retired, he died at an early age of 46 years old. Violence. 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 And what is worse? What's worse is that you, the Congress, Mr. Trump, you have taken health care from those who have had it, and yet you choose to use those monies to fund tax cuts and an unholy war. This is pure violence, and we will stand against it.
Yes. Someone might say, we will stand against it. Pure violence. All right. Musicians, are you all over there? Are you over there, Bill? There we go, I see you. We're going to call on y'all in just a second. In just a second. All right.
Thank you, Bishop. Denying voting rights and living wages and denying freedom from poverty is violence. The next voices you'll hear will be dealing with those violent situations.
Come on up and bring it up. Come on, come on.
Good afternoon. I'm the Reverend Avi Janamanchi, and I serve Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Bethesda, Maryland. There's a truth older than any government, any party, any law. Every person has inherent dignity. Not some people, every person. It is the ground on which every great religious and moral tradition stands. Every one of them, no exceptions. And yet here we are. We are made for each other. We belong to each other. What diminishes one of us diminishes all of us. And when we strip health care from trans people, criminalize women's bodies, gerrymander districts to silence black and brown votes, we are not making policy. We are deciding who belongs to the human family. Violence. And people of faith cannot be silent when that question is being answered wrong. Gender justice and democracy are not separate fights. They never were. Both rest on the same conviction. Every person counts. Every person belongs. Every person deserves to live freely and without fear. That is what our traditions have always called us toward. The beloved community. Not the community of the privileged few, not the community of the politically convenient. The beloved community has no exceptions and leaves no one outside the circle of care. We are here because love will not let us go, let us down, or let us off the hook. Forward together.
Somebody say, love will not let us accept violence.
The Lord is my light and salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Good evening. My name is Reverend Amanda Hendler-Voss, and I serve as the senior minister at First Congregational United Church of Christ, a justice-seeking church in the heart of our nation's capital, founded by abolitionists in the Lincoln administration. This war of choice has deeply offended people of faith. It has offended the conscience of people of faith. It's not just the egregious costs, but it's toxic theology. Military personnel have been instructed by commanders that the war is part of God's plan to usher in Armageddon. This administration gleefully calls for death and destruction to rain down from the skies. But the Bible says, seek peace and pursue it. This administration quotes fake verses about great vengeance and furious anger, but the Bible says, beat your swords into plowshares. This administration says, no mercy for the enemy, no harbor for prisoners of war. But Jesus said, those who live by the sword shall die by the sword. Make no mistake, this is no holy war. It is a fool's errand enacted by Christian nationalists who cozy up to white supremacy, gag the gifts of women, and erect idolatrous golden statues of this president.
That's it, that's it.
Today we say clearly this is not the faith of Jesus Christ. Justice is surely coming, and we will hold this administration accountable for all of its unholy bloodshed. God will not be mocked.
That's it, that's it. Somebody just say that before she comes, say, God will not be mocked. Now we have 4 speakers coming in a row to talk about particular areas, again, of violence. Do you all see what we're trying to do for the nation? With thousands and thousands of people listening in, we cannot just talk about the war as violence, but this violent moment that we're in that we must challenge. Come on, my dear sister.
My name is Renee Moore, and I'm an impacted individual. Violence is residents in need of basic services, food, housing, and medical care in the most powerful country in the world, while our congressional leaders spend billions on war and allow its citizens to go without. Violence is citizens having to go from agency to agency, searching for assistance, and should not entail a 54-page document, nor standing outside a government facility in Southeast, which remains, in the cold, waiting for what is an unattended PowerPoint slide presentation. Nobody in the room. Seniors in the cold. Violence is property management companies forcing tenants already under stress to pay sewer, trash, and processing fees. These fees should be borne by the billion-dollar property managers who receive guaranteed rent for the privilege of doing business in the nation's capital. This kind of violence is...
We want to hear every word. And then you in the back.
You get
pick up in the media. Stay with the mic. There we go. Y'all help her out.
Should I go?
There you go. We want to hear you. We want to hear you.
Should I repeat it?
Yeah.
Violence is property management companies forcing tenants already under stress to pay sewer, water, and processing fees. These fees should be borne by the billion-dollar property management companies who receive guaranteed rent for the privilege of doing business in the nation's capital. This kind of violence is unnecessary and against God, and God will have the last word.
That's right. That's right. Say God, and that which is greater will have the last word. We want all of the last 9 speakers to go meet with Sister Hannah. We're trying to do something. Let's step right here on the side, on the left, meet with Hannah. Call all of anybody who has not spoken. They step with her, and we're going to have the musicians. Come on, musician, and lift us up with a song right now in the midst of the street. Amen. While we take a minute with Sister Hannah. Amen. Amen. Everybody who's not spoken yet, stand over there with Hannah for a second. She wants to give some clarifying thoughts. Listen, everybody. Shh. Put your placards down. We're trying to have, this violence is serious. And when we sing, we don't break. Singing is a part of challenging violence. So if everybody will put their placards down that are in with us, and let's join. The song says, somebody's hurting my brother, my sister, and it's gone on far too long. So you can put them down on the street for just a second, and we can all join in. Bring that music up. I want the sound, the speakers, bring it up nice and loud. Everybody's got a placard. Just put it down for a second and start putting your hands together. Come on, teach us, y'all. Come on, come on. Yeah, this is a part of challenging violence. Bring the singer speakers up. Bring their mics up. Come on.
Somebody's hurting our people, and it's going on. And it's going on. It's going on.
worked with us before, but you got to work with us. Keep these mics on up here. Unless they're giving feedback, both mics. Because we got a crowd out here. We're trying to talk to folks. And we're trying to have a rally. That's one of the reasons we wanted the choir in the street and the mics facing that way. But if this is causing feedback, y'all, you go ahead and take it. One more line, then we're going back to the speakers. We're going back. Turn their mics up if you need to turn mine down, but then turn them back up quickly, okay? All right, let's go, let's go.
Put your hands together, everybody. And let me hear you from the street.
That's right. Bring this mic back up. Somebody say mic and sound makes a congregation. No matter how many people you got, if they can hear, even if they can't see. Am I right about it? We want these other speakers to come. We've got 9 speakers to come, and then we're going to try to put this together. How many of you didn't come out here for fad and for form, but for serious business? For serious business. Say serious business. This is serious business. All right, behind us is home of an authoritarian. This is serious business. Come on, other speakers. We ask everybody now to listen up if you would.
It was a result of...
This is my friend and neighbor. I'm a little funny, and y'all might get mad with me, but I'm gonna love you anyhow, because if y'all real. But everybody that's with us that's still talking behind, can y'all stop and focus on the mic? I know we fellowship, but y'all, we dealing with some serious stuff here. This ain't about no fellowship just coming together. This is serious stuff. Amen? Amen. And this is a serious brother and union, and we thank God for you, man. Come on.
Good evening. My name is Sam Epps, President of the Metropolitan Washington Council, AFL-CIO, representing 150,000 union members here in DC's metropolitan region. We are here today because we know something in our bones. Poverty is not an accident. It's a policy choice. When we talk about policy violence against workers, we are talking about what happens when a worker breaks their back for 40 years and still cannot retire with dignity. We are talking about what happens when a parent who works 2 jobs and still cannot afford insulin for their children. We are talking about what happens when the people who grow our food, build our roads, and care for our elderly are told they are not worth a living wage. That is violence to workers. And labor unions were born for days like this, when working people looked at an unjust system and said, not on my watch. And today, we say it again, not on our watch. We say no to an economy that hoards wealth at the top, while workers beg for scraps. We say no to union busting. We say no to wage theft and the lie that you should be grateful to just have a job. We say no to our right to vote being taken away. We say yes to an economy built from the bottom up and the middle out, where work is rewarded and dignity is guaranteed, and no zip code determines whether your children will thrive. Dr. Barber reminds us that there is a moral budget. It's not about deficits, it's about values. And values say that persons that make the least deserve the most protection from all of us. So we say no to workers' violence. Solidarity forever.
My name is the Reverend Adam Russell Taylor. I serve as the president of Sojourners. I want to be crystal clear. Denying voter rights is violence. As our nation comes quickly to its 250th birthday, our democracy is caught in the crucible of what feels like a prolonged Good Friday. Last week's Calais decision by the Supreme Court's conservative majority, in effect, gutted the Voting Rights Act. This decision is not only legal malpractice, it is morally bankrupt. It has already opened up the floodgates in states like Louisiana and Tennessee, who have already racially gerrymandered away black representation with new maps that will derail a multiracial democracy. This president, this White House, is actively trying to ban vote by mail and has threatened to unconstitutionally nationalize our elections and abuse law enforcement at the polls. The administration has doubled down on the lie of widespread voter fraud, which is being used as a pretense to pass the SAVE Act and to undermine the integrity of our midterm elections. That is the bad news, that voter suppression and election subversion are real and present danger. But there is some good news, y'all. In the Christian tradition, we are still in the liturgical season of Easter, a season of redemption and a season of renewal. And so we are crystal clear that we must and can redeem our democracy and make the promise of liberty and justice for all real for all.
My brothers and sisters, I want those that are behind, if you want to, you can move in to the sides and move in front, except for those holding the signs along the podium. I want y'all to give Hannah a great big hand because she operated on faith. She said, Reverend Barber, if we got an hour and we got 19 speakers and they all take 2 minutes, we ought to be able to get things up by 6 o'clock. Well, yeah, well, some folk can't because we got people with disabilities. We got a march we got to make to the White House and to the place where some people are willing to put their bodies on the line today, and we want to respect that. So there are other persons that may have to speak. We're asking you to walk with us and walk down there because, you know, brothers and sisters, I've been out here a long time, 61 years old, 62, almost 63. Despite the pain, this is no time for show horses. This is serious. And I want us to be one for a moment. The fact of the matter is you can put your placards down and just grab somebody by the hand and tell them, we got to be one in this moment. I want the nation to see us, see you all together. You know, sometimes one time I was up speaking and I asked folk in the back if they would be quiet. You know, I can hear everything. And somebody said, why don't you shut up? And I said, and that's why we have some of the problems we had. Because if we can't respect each other, if we can't listen, there is no joy about being out here today, except the joy for maybe, as the guy said one time when he went out in front of the White House and held up a sign every day, and somebody said, "Do you think it will change them?" He said, "No, but it will change me. It will keep me from ever giving in." My brothers and sisters, I want to try to say something to the nation, and hopefully clergy and others will take this up as a part of their moral messages. And it's fine to loose your hands. You know, we're in a democratic society, and the structures of our common life are built for disagreement. But what we're seeing now is not normal. It's not just disagreement. Here in our nation's capital, there's supposed to be a White House and a Supreme Court and a Congress. Mr. President, hear us. Mr. Trump hears MAGA and others. We have a system that tries to balance those powers because we know that they will not always agree. Inside those chambers where our laws are supposed to be debated, there are sometimes two sides and maybe more, but members are elected to represent us. They may run as Democrat and Republican, but once they get elected, they swear. They swear, regardless of their partisan title, that they will be about the business of establishing justice, providing for the common defense, promoting the general welfare, ensuring domestic tranquility, equal protection under the law. They swear to these things. And we are heirs of movements that have worked to change public opinion. We're not the first ones to take these streets, nor will we be the last. We're not the first one, whether it was 250,000 people on the March on Washington, which is many million that still were not there, or it was 800 people in the 1930s that came here and argued for their unemployment money, the money they were on, the bonus marches. But over and over again, people have come to this place to change public policy. And this is hard work. Democracy is hard. Look at your neighbor and say, democracy is hard. But here's the question before this generation. What do you do when the democracy has been hijacked? You know, a plane can go through turbulence and make it. A plane can change the time it's going to land, or it can get delayed and make it. A plane can even switch pilots from the pilot to the co-pilot or the first officer. But when the plane is hijacked, this is the question we face. This is why we got to get real serious. This democracy, or our effort to be a democracy, has been hijacked. And it's not just because of one person or one election. There is a kind of socio-schizophrenia that is that exists in the ethos of America. And that social schizophrenia, Hannah, is always seeking to take over and direct our common life to something different than what was written. The social schizophrenia is this. Dr. King said it like this: we have a high blood pressure of creeds, and then the anemia of deeds. You hear me, Della? This is the contradiction. And look at your neighbor and say, and the contradiction has been with us. The problem with what we see now, when folks say it's not America, yes it is. It's not all of America. It's not the only part of America. But this kind of schizophrenia has been with us since the nation was born, and the nation sought to say to women, you don't have a voice. To poor white men, you don't have a voice. And to black folk, you're 3/5 of a person. But every so often it goes real crazy. That's what we're in. Every so often in this thing called America, it gets pronounced as schizophrenia. And we're in a moment like that. The man who occupies our White House and the members of Congress who treat him like a demigod are MAGA extremists. And our government is captive to MAGA madness. Our democracy is being subverted in plain sight. And we face a constitutional crisis as the executive branch continues to run through guardrails while it tells us we don't understand what America really is about. You see, we actually have a hijacking that doesn't believe that America started out broken and has been trying to get better. It believes America was right in its beginning when only wealthy white men were in control, and every effort since then has been a reversal. We just celebrated Mother's Day. And I was thinking about Julia Ward Howard, the abolitionist. You know, she was an abolitionist from Boston who rode the train down here to D.C. during the Civil War, and she reviewed the troops who had gathered to fight. And she was the one who came up with the idea of Mother's Day when she saw all of the carnage and the death. The Mother's Day originally was about ending war. Now, she also wrote the song, "Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He is trampling out his ventures where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed his fateful lightning of the terrible sword. His truth is marching on." And Dr. King used that same hymn at the end of his speech at the end of the Selma to Montgomery March. But Howell knew something. She was horrified by the destruction of a civil war, even when the cause is just. She knew that a tyrant could come along and sing that same battle hymn to make people feel righteous about unnecessary war. She knew that that same song could be misused. And that's why she wrote something else at the original Mother's Day. She wrote a cry. And this is what she said: "Arise, women of the day. Arise, all the women who have hearts, whether our baptism be that of water or tears. Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with the carnage for carcasses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we've been able to teach them about charity and mercy and patience. Arise, women. Arise and declare, disarm, 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 because murder is not the balance of justice. And blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence vindicate possession." Give me this mic. She wrote that on Mother's Day. And here we are the day after Mother's Day. Once again, we have to cry, disarm. And so the truth of the matter is that MAGA can wave the flag and play the battle hymn all they want to. We know who we are. And the truth is, when a nation is going through schizophrenia, somebody has to know who you are. We can't be schizophrenic along with the nation. Touch your neighbor and say, we know who we are. And we are here to declare that this war is mean, this war is angry, this war is greedy, this war is anti-American. We are here to say that this authoritarian hijack and captivity isn't about one person. It's about the madness that MAGA has wrought. So we today change the meaning of MAGA. MAGA doesn't mean make America great again. MAGA actually has come to mean mean, angry, greedy, and anti-American. We say no to choosing unholy war. Why? Because as long, Dr. Jackson, as the Constitution says in Article 1, Section 8, that the Congress has the authority to declare war. to grant letters of marque and reprisal and make rules concerning capturing on lands and water. As long as that's in the Constitution, this war is illegal. As long as the Bible says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. This war is immoral. It is immoral. But not only to war, we have to say no to all policy violence. All policy violence. Every bit of it. Denying voting rights is also a form of policy violence. As long as the Constitution says that no one in the United States can deny or abridge the right to vote on the account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude, then the ruling of the Supreme Court a few weeks ago is unconstitutional and anti-American. And it's war and it's violence. As long as the Bible says that every person created in the image of God is given a voice and a vote. And it's a part of my human dignity. Turn to your neighbor and say, nobody gave me the right to vote. It came with being born. God gives us the right to choose. And as long as that's true, then any attack on the voting rights is a denial of your humanity. When somebody attacks your voting rights, from a Christian perspective or Judeo-Christian perspective, what they're saying is, you're not a human. You're not made in the image of God. And I have a right to take it. Did you know that we really have only been a democracy where black people have been able to elect black people to Congress for 40 years? Out of the 250 years of the history of this country, we've only been pressing our way towards a full democracy for about 40 years. For about 40 years. And we did a study with the Institute of Policy Study, and what they said was, when they looked at the diversity that the voting rights produced, that if it was not for the Voting Rights Act, we would have never had the votes for the Affordable Care Act. If it was not for the Voting Rights Act, we'd have never had the votes to deal with COVID, to give people relief during COVID. Because it was the members of the Congressional Black Caucus that had been elected only because of the provisions of the Voting Rights Act that gave the Democrats the majority that they needed. And that's why an attack on voting rights isn't just an attack on black people. It's an attack on democracy. See, because the same people that attack voting rights, they want power so that they can attack health care, so that they can attack living wages, so that they can attack public education. And that's why we have to say no to unholy war, and we have to say no to the violence of voter suppression. We have to say no to all policy violence. Come on and say this with me. Say, denying living wages.
And we have to say no to the violence of voter suppression. We have to say no to all policy violence. Come on and say this with me. Say, denying living wages. Denying living wages is violence. It's violence. Denying health care is violence.
Denying the right.
All right, folks, we're here on Black Lives Matter Plaza, where Reverend Bishop William Barber and repairs of the breach are holding their Moral Mondays here at the intersection of 16th and H, right in front of Lafayette Park. That's in front of the White House. Joining us right now is Congressman Cleo Fields of Louisiana. And, of course, we have seen the battles that have taken place in the last week and a half as a result of the Supreme Court decision to frankly, that has upended black representation in the South. Congressman Cleo Fields, glad to have you here. Last night, Governor Jeff Landry of Louisiana, that MAGA Republican, was on 60 Minutes, and he pretty much said, hey, the people who've already voted in the election, we're just going to discard those votes. He said, hey, don't blame it on me. What we are seeing in Alabama, same thing, discarding of votes. Just give people a sense of what it has been like dealing with these Republicans in Louisiana since the Supreme Court allowed for them to gut so much black political power all across the South, especially in your state.
Say one thing.
Well, first of all, Roland, let me thank you for making this an issue all across the country, because it is. You know, what I have to say about the governor is just absolutely crazy for a person to say that a person's vote is going to be discarded and it doesn't count. You know, the Supreme Court ruled that the 6th Congressional District was a racial gerrymander, but what they did not rule, they did not say that Louisiana should halt its election. People had qualified, people had already voted. The Secretary of State had sent out over 100,000 ballots. And of that 100,000 ballots, about 42,000 people had already returned those ballots. These are elderly people. These are people who live overseas in the military. It is just absolutely unconscionable, to say the least, to have a governor of any state to say that, you know, so what? You just got to go back to the polls and vote again. You know, that people died for this precious right. You know, I'm just listening to Reverend speak just, you know, while I was sitting here waiting on the show. You know, I mean, he's absolutely right. You know, this is the new Reconstruction. You know, I mean, this is about the power in the Congress. And next is going to be about the power in the legislatures across the country. You know, states like Louisiana, we've always depended on the Voting Rights Act. We depended on Section 5, and then they gutted it in 2013. And then from there, we depended on subsection 2 of the Voting Rights Act, and they gutted it last week. You know, I mean, it's now, you know, black voters, particularly black voters in the southern part of our country, just don't have anything to hold on to in protecting their right, not just to vote, but their right to participate in the process. And it's a terrible day in America. And I tell people here in Louisiana, look, don't stop voting. You need to vote, and you need to vote as often as you can, because this too shall pass. We've seen these tough times before. You know, Plessy v. Ferguson, it came out of the state of Louisiana, where the Supreme Court said it was legal to be separated. So we just have to keep fighting. And I think Reverend Barber is right. It is terrible what's taking place today, but you can't give up on that precious right to vote. You gotta fight even more profusely for it.
And come out of this hurt.
Congressman Fields, look, this just saying that the Supreme Court is allowing Alabama to wipe out the seat of Congressman Shamari Figures. They're going to vote next week. Look what they did there in Louisiana. Alito's saying, oh, no, they can go ahead and go through with this. Normally, they had this the Purcell doctrine, if you will, so they did not make changes, people voting. It is stunning how this, Supreme Court Justice John Roberts has said, oh, the court is not partisan. It is abundantly clear that this court is doing the bidding of Republicans to allow them to toss out votes during an election. People already voted. To sit here and change to allow a map to go into place when Alabama is voting next week. This is in the case of Louisiana. I remember when the lower court, when the court ruled that it was unconstitutional was happening, they froze the maps in place to allow it to go forward. And so this schizophrenic decision making makes it perfectly clear that this conservative majority on the Supreme Court is highly partisan, and they are doing the work of Republicans. This is not looking at the law, equal justice under law.
No question about it. I mean, look, this Supreme Court, basically, right after the ruling, you give the opposing party the opportunity to request a rehearing. the 3-judge panel in Shreveport just said, okay, Governor, you're right. You can move forward. And then Alito then comes back without the full court, just say, they're right. You know, we don't think that the Robinson plaintiffs were going to file for a rehearing. How do you know what what the lawyers are thinking? You know, it's just absolutely asinine the way this whole process has been handled. And that's even more of a reason why people should really pay attention and just get up and go out and vote and register to vote. There's so many people who are not registered to vote. I was talking to the Legislative Black Caucus earlier today. I said the reason why people feel comfortable that in doing what they're doing is because they don't believe that we're going to get out and vote. You know, I mean, I have this theory: don't respect us, don't expect us. And I think that should be the theory of every African American, not only in Louisiana, but across this country. You know, this is just disrespectful, what they're doing. You know, I've said time and time again, the issue is not whether or not I serve another day in Congress. The issue is whether or not a person who looks like me will have the mere opportunity to serve in Congress. And that day is dwindling. I mean, and people just need to pay attention to it, observe what's taking place, but more importantly, get involved. Every sorority should get involved. Every fraternity should get involved. Every community organization need to get involved. Get folk involved in this process because, you know, today is members of Congress. Tomorrow is going to be state legislatures. And then the day after that, it'll be city council and school boards. So we have to take these numbers and make sure that they're registered to vote so we can stop some of this enclave of just taking away people's, you know, basic right, and that is the right to vote.
Cleo Fields, as you said, the fight continues. I need folks to remind them the election. Look, it's Saturday in Louisiana. We're going to be in Montgomery, Alabama. Guys, pull the graphic up because this is the kickoff of a national, frankly, Freedom Summit 2026. This is going to be a 6-month effort. It's really the folk. All roads lead to the South. The National Day of Action for Voting Rights. People are going to be coalescing there. We're going to be live from Montgomery on Friday, live there at 1 p.m. There as well. And again, what we need people to understand is that, again, this is about our power. And Congressman Fields, you nailed it. We got to use everything at our disposal, and that means we got to register every single one of our folk to get involved, because we cannot sit this out. This is an anti-black agenda that they are executing in our faces. Sir, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Don't forget about South Carolina. They moved. They're voting today as to whether or not they're going to undo James Clyburn's seat. I mean, Alabama, South Carolina, you know, all of these southern states, these states that have a history of discriminating and disenfranchising minorities are under attack. Thank you, Roland.
It's been going on too long.
I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Folks, let's go back to Bishop William Barber. Here's his closing remarks.
Every generation has its moment.
Too long.
I said, with gray hair. The only reason you're still here, because you know how to fight. If you got gray hair, you've been through some fights. I see some of you out there who are middle-aged. And now
because you know how to fight. If you got gray hair, you've been through some fights. I see some of you out there who are middle-aged. And now we need to fight because we've been living off the fight of other people that lived before us. And then I see some of you who are young and you've never really fought. Well, it's time for you to get into battle and fight for justice. In Hebrews, the Bible says the people were about to quit. It's a book in the Bible. Paul wrote it, some say the people were about to quit. They were about to turn back because there were these mean Caesars, these authoritarians, and they were just beating the people.
He said, listen, we are not of those who shrink back unto destruction, but we are those who persevere unto the salvation of the soul. who we are. Look at your neighbor as we get ready to march and say, they must not know who we are. They shouldn't have poked us like this. We are not schizophrenic. Tell your neighbor, we are not schizophrenic. We know exactly who we are. Tell them. We are not double-minded. We are the children of Mother Jones, who said fight until hell freezes over, and then fight on the ice. Tell your neighbor, they must not know who we are. We're the children of Fannie Lou Hamer. We're the children of Francis Perkins. We're the children of Dorothy Day. We're the children of Coretta Scott King. We're the children of Ella Baker. We're the children of Rabbi Heschel. We're the children of Malcolm X. We're the children of Martin King. And we don't act one way one day and then act another day. We don't scratch when we're not itching. We don't laugh when nothing is funny. We don't tell lies just to get by. We are the generation that we have been looking for. We are the repairers of the breach. We are the people that can make a difference. And right now, we must, say we must, keep growing, rising, and expanding this movement. Growing, rising, and expanding this movement until the war ends. Growing, rising, expanding this movement until voting rights are restored. Growing, rising, expanding this movement until living wages are guaranteed. Growing, rising, and expanding this movement until everybody has health care as a human right. Growing, rising, expanding this movement. That's who we are. We don't sit down. We don't shut up. We don't bow down. We don't go away. We keep standing until pain becomes power, until our hurt turns into healing, until frustration becomes faith. We know who we are, and because of who we are, we will never stop growing, rising, and expanding this movement. We will keep on now, henceforth, and forevermore. It is our time to cure this nation one more time. Are you ready? Are you ready to grow, to expand, to rise, to grow, expand, and rise now, henceforth, and forevermore, until what's written is what's true. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, now, henceforth, and forevermore. Now, henceforth, and forevermore. It's our time. Grab somebody that'll let you and hug them real good and tell them I'm glad you're alive for this fight. Tell them I'm glad you're alive for this fight. I'm glad you're alive for this fight. How many of you are going to walk with us? March with us down to Pennsylvania Avenue. What street is it? The 16th. We need all the armbands to come in the center. Those are people that are going to put their bodies on the line today. Come on in. Come on in.
All right, folks, let me just give you a sense of what's going to happen. First of all, we are here at Black Lives Matter Plaza here in Washington, D.C. at 16 H. So we have another camera that's going to be traveling with Bishop Barber and the others in terms of with this action they're going to be doing. First of all, can we get that shot? Can we get that shot so we can give me? Yeah. So Anthony, tell Antoine to get in position. So let me see his shot if we can. Do we have a shot up?
We're going down 2 by 2. 2 by 2. Some of us are not going in.
Okay, all right, guys. So we need to get Antoine's shot up. So he's going to follow them. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep that feed going. We're going to keep that feed going. Okay, y'all be sure to let him know this shot is up. We're going to keep that feed going as we continue the show. I want to give people a sense of where we are in terms of what is going on today. A lot of action happening today. First off, let me do this here. I'm going to bring in my panel right now, Dr. Ame Congo, Domingo Sr., professor, author and lecturer, School of International Service, American University. Thelma Anderson, creator of the Public Opinion Court and author of Shut Up and Prosecute out of Dallas. Nicole Robinson, political law attorney and strategist out of D.C. So, folks, let me just give you a sense of where we are. Frankly, it has been a devastating day. We've been talking about this GOP war on Black America. It has been a devastating day. The Supreme Court rule that they are allowing Alabama to move forward with this map, wiping out the seat of Congressman Shamari Figures, overruling a lower court that said stick with those with the current configuration. Now, folks, it's unprecedented because they vote next week. This is absolutely crazy. Now, while that's happening, South Carolina is circulating a map that will completely wipe out the congressional seat of longtime Congressman Jim Clyburn, the only Democrat, only African-American representing South Carolina. Also, we want to talk about Louisiana, where they also have, first of all, Virginia Democrats have filed with the Supreme Court asking to override a decision for the state's highest court, which struck down the voter-approved new maps there in Virginia. Also happening today, give me 1 second. You want to understand the Confederacy? The Louisiana House voted, this is 78-14, for a bill to transfer Confederate monuments that have been removed to state parks. Yes, well, they will be on display again. So MAGA Governor Jeff Landry wants those Confederate monuments to be up. Also, in North Carolina, they had a lawsuit against the North Carolina State Senate map, and guess what? They've ended that particular lawsuit. Representative Rodney Pierce cited the Supreme Court's Voting Rights Act ruling, said, quote, because of that decision, there is no longer a path open to us to protect the voting rights of black citizens in my part of the state. And so we are seeing these actions again today, Louisiana, Alabama, North Carolina, and so it is continuing, and so that's what's happening. So let's go to my panel. Ome Congo, I'll start with you. Again, this is an absolute partisan Supreme Court. It is stunning that they will allow Alabama to move forward with this new map, wiping out one seat, that is of Congressman Shamari Figures, and they start voting next week. I mean, the precedent has always been you don't make these decisions so close to the election. No, what they have decided is, damn all of that, we are letting these MAGA Republicans go head first. They don't even care. Talk about election next week. They allow Louisiana to throw out ballots. Folks had already voted. Absolutely shocking and stunning what we are seeing here from this right-wing MAGA Supreme Court.
Oh, absolutely. And they are just bringing to the forefront what people like Roberts have been working on for decades. And now people were acting as if it happened overnight, but this has been their long-term plan. And you have called it out. Reverend Barber has always called it out. So many people, Cleo Fields, representative, have always called it out. And now America is seeing it right in front of our eyes in real time, right now. And then the question, as the late, great Dr. Joe Madison said, is what are you going to do about it? You're out there taking to the streets. Black Star Network's always representing. Most of these networks aren't covering these rallies. They'll have maybe a couple of minutes to talk about these Supreme Court decisions. Then they're going right back onto Iran or some other type of place. This is what's happening in our country right now as it's being destroyed. And so who's going to be on deck? You know, where's the business community? Where are the athletes? Where are the professionals? Where are the musicians? We right here, we are the revolutionaries. We are the ones fighting. Everybody, this is an all hands on deck moment right now. And if everybody who thought, the Stephen A. Smiths out there, oh, go vote Republican, the other folks out there, your vote doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, or we're giving it all the way to Democrats. This is the result of what happens when we don't stay engaged. And this Supreme Court, and this is the crazy part, Roland, it's like they told us all of this, Project 2025, everything that they've done has been to get us to this moment right now, and they are not done. So all those folks out there talking about resting and all, this is the moment. It's been the moment, but it's literally now or never. This is the fight we have to continue to fight and continue to wage. And we're not done. It's not over, but they want us to think it's over. But this MAGA Supreme Court, you nailed it properly. It's not a partisan court. It's a MAGA Supreme Court. And we have to respond accordingly, which is what we're doing tonight and what we're doing every day. Where's everybody else?
There's a sign over the Supreme Court that says equal justice under law. There's no such thing as equal justice under law. Guys, please, will you please leave the protesters up in the 2 box, okay? Switch the other box, okay? So leave up the protesters. Thank you, okay? So, this is what I need family people to understand. What is going on here is an absolute travesty that we are seeing right now. They don't care about equal justice under law. This is all about them doing whatever the hell they want because they know they can.
That is absolutely correct, Roland. It is equal MAGA under the law. And let's point out, because since Alabama in the Supreme Court wants to say that it is okay for them so close to the election to make this dramatic change, well, they didn't prosecute Donald Trump when there was an indictment that Jack Smith had got from the grand jury to bring him to trial for the crimes that he had committed. But because he was a former president and it was so close to the goddamn election, now they want to say that, oh, that wasn't okay, but this is okay, when we're talking about the right to vote. You are taking our constitutional rights away because you are afraid of our power. That is not our problem. That is your mediocre problem. And the fact of the matter is, I don't think people really understand that when you go out and vote, you have to go out and vote right. Your attorney general is very important. Your DA is important. Your congressman, your senator are important. Because guess what? They're going to wrap all this up together like these MAGA states have done. And because he has that MAGA Supreme Court, they have utilized all their tools and resources to come in and say, we're going to strip the African-American parties, minorities, of their ability to go out and exercise their vote. But no, we're not sitting behind closed doors and allowing this to happen. If they want to fight, they ain't seen we are the product of our ancestors, and we're going to show up and fight each and every day. Since they wanted this, they better hope that by the end of this, that they are still standing.
Nicole, listen, it's clear. We see exactly what they are doing, and they're not hiding it. And what this Supreme Court is saying, y'all can do whatever y'all want to. We don't care about anything in any precedent. And so what I need every black person to understand, when I say this means war, this means war. We're going to be in Montgomery on Saturday for this kickoff, this national kickoff for this voter registration effort. Listen, this is all hands on deck, and this is no game. If we sit this out, we might as well give up. Because what they are trying to do is they are trying to completely destroy black political power.
And you're right. You hit that right on the head, Roland. What they're doing at the Supreme Court is sending us a message that they do not care about the Constitution. They do not care about the law. All they care about is disenfranchising Black people. And think about it. Louisiana is a state that is 1/3 Black, and they are about to have zero representation in Congress. That should alarm everybody who claims to care about democracy and voting and a vote for everybody, because it's not just going to be Black people. It's not just going to be the South. They're going to disenfranchise Democrats all across the country. And the South is just the first step to this. So we have to make sure that we're taking to the streets and showing them that we are not just going to take this, and showing up at the polls.
Yeah, I mean, this is again. I mean, it's just one after another, and this Supreme Court letting them do whatever. So what does this tell us, Ome Congo? That are they going to rule against what Tennessee did, wiping out the seat in Memphis? Nope. Are they going to, let's say, South Carolina does what they do? Nope. Because here's what they've decided. The Supreme Court has said, oh, if you use race and it involves Black people, then guess what? You can get rid of this. But this same Supreme Court has no issue with 75-80% white districts. And so what they're saying is we are going to protect white voters. We're not going to protect Black voters.
And this is a challenge to those white voters. We know in this country that white voters have not voted in majority for a Democrat since 1964. And while people are talking about what Black people are doing with their vote, what are white people doing with these votes? Because we know even in the South, especially in the South, that white Democrats will still not vote for a Black candidate in many instances. And so are they going to step up in this moment? There are white Democratic areas right now in these states that are not being touched right now. It's just the Black groups that are being touched right now. And the MAGA Supreme Court and Trump, they all know that they can continue to play on the white vote, that they can continually play on white grievance. But just like you said a few minutes ago, it's just a matter of time before they come for them too. They always start with Black people because they know that people don't care as much about Black people as anybody else. And once they get through with us, they go for everybody else. So you white Democrats out there, you white liberals, so-called progressives, this is your moment right now to stand up as well. Everybody wants to put all of the onus on what Black people need to be doing, and we're doing what we need to do. Black Voters Matter, all of the organ, we're doing what we're supposed to do. What are you going to do? Are you going to continue to let this MAGA Supreme Court play on your grievance, play on this idea that white is right? Or are y'all going to step up in this moment? And to be quite honest, Roland, I don't really know what they're going to do, but I know that we have brought this country to its heel before. We have done more with less, and so we have to continue to do more of what we have right now. But this is also a call to white America, and where do you want to be in this moment in history right now? Because we've seen where you've been over the last 50, 60, 70 years.
Indeed, Nicole, we've had a number of white folks, allies, reach out to say, hey, how can we stand with you with what's happening on Saturday, May 16th? And, you know, frankly, the position that I have is the one that Malcolm X had when a young lady came up to him. He was speaking in one of the colleges, and she said, Mr. X, what can I do for your people? And he said, nothing. In the book, though, that was, of course, we saw that scene in the movie. In the book, though, he said that he wished he had told her, hey, I'm good with my people. You need to go back and deal with your people. And that's what I was saying, Nicole. White allies, y'all need to go register white people. Y'all need to go organize and mobilize white people because 90 million people did not vote in the 2024 election. It's a whole lot of those folks are white, and so they need to be going and mobilizing those white folks in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Tennessee, in Georgia, in North Carolina, in South Carolina, in Florida. That's what they need to go do.
And I have a picture of Malcolm X right here, so I know exactly what you're talking about. The same white people who were out in the streets in 2020 marching for Black Lives Matter and the murder of George Floyd need to be the same people who are registering their family and friends to vote, who are having those tough conversations with their grandparents about what they need to do and how this is also going to impact their retirement plans and the gas prices. This is impacting everybody. They need to get out there and preach that to their people. And not only that, they also need to put their money where their mouth is. Donate some of your money to the NAACP, LDF, who is fighting these terrible court cases across the country, because we still need to fight in the courts. Donate to some of these churches who are advocating and who are registering Black people to vote. There's a lot of things that white people can do, and they cannot just sit back on the sidelines and tweet and make Instagram posts about this. They need to put their money and their feet where their mouths are.
Velma, to that particular point there, again, this is where white folks need to be talking to white people. They need to be going into those rural towns, talking about how MAGA is hurting those folks, talking about how representation is screwing them. And so if we talk about, look, black folks, we know what to do. Okay, we know how to move. We know how to mobilize and organize. This is where white folks need to be putting their money on the line and getting this whole thing together.
Absolutely. And you bring a great point, because yesterday there was a comment made in a post that I was tagged in, where there was a white female that stated that we should have been at the rally that the No Kings rally with them. And I said to myself, lady, we have been at every movement, started movements, supported every movement. It is y'all's time to show up and show solidarity, and also see what it actually takes in order for someone to fight for democracy. So when I'm talking to my white allies and my white colleagues, you have the resources, you have the access, you have the proximity. There is no reason why they are not coming together to make sure that their people are on the front line and not in the back, just sitting, waiting for the damage to continue. We have white colleagues that can offer legal resources in this realm, and they have, but we need more. We need more from them instead of them worrying about what we're going to do. Our pedigree never changed. We always show up. We always are on the front line. Now it's time for other races to go into their communities, pull to their people, make sure that their people are registered, make sure that their people are informed, make sure that they are engaged, make sure they are showing up, so that we can make sure that this country does not go to hell the way that MAGA and these disgusting pedophiles want it to be. Like, no, it's not all about Black people. It's time for every other race to put up or shut the fuck up.
It is, folks, a lot going on. This Supreme Court decision 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, has caused massive upheaval. And we are seeing how quickly these conservative white Republicans in the South are moving to eradicate Black representation. Let me remind folks again, on Saturday, we are going to be in Montgomery, Alabama, where there's going to be the kickoff to a national voter mobilization effort taking place. And it won't be just there in Montgomery. There are going to be people who are going to be in satellite locations all across. It is about coming together en masse. All roads lead to the South. And again, the strategy is very simple. You have the primary in Louisiana on May 16th. You have Georgia voting on May 19th. Alabama's going to be voting next week as well. So primaries are taking place, but this is about a massive national voter registration campaign. We want to activate every African American to make this thing happen. And so as you see on the screen, folks, Bishop William Barber and the Repairs of the Breach, you see them. They are, of course, marching down Pennsylvania Avenue. They are, again, letting it be known to Donald Trump, to Republicans, that they're going to continue using their moral voice to speak to the issues. We're going to continue to cover this as well. So let me take a quick break. We're going to keep that they're now on 17th Street as well. So we're going to keep this feed going. We'll go to a break. When we come back, more Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Study Network, live here on Black Lives Matter Plaza in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Back in a moment.
With medicine and science under attack, I want to keep you and your family informed and healthy. I'm Dr. Ebony Hilton, and I knew at the age of 8 that I wanted to be a doctor. So I studied hard and became the first African-American female anesthesiologist hired at the Medical University of South Carolina since its opening in 1824. And I always say I was made into a doctor, but I was born to be a mom. And as a new mom, wife, sister, daughter, and friend, I understand how frightening a medical crisis can be. I care for individuals on some of the worst days of their lives, and it's my mission to provide you with a safe space to gain clarity on issues affecting your mind, body, and soul. I recognize that there are health disparities, particularly as it pertains to race, and I want to help bridge the gap between you and your healthcare providers. Join me every Thursday for Second Opinion on the Black Star Network, where each week I'll invite experts from various medical fields to share the latest health news. We'll discuss topics such as the vaccine debate, mental and sexual health, medical bias, infertility, menopause, andropause, nutrition, and aging. Together with my medical colleagues, we aim to provide you with a second opinion. Don't miss it, Thursdays only on the Black Star Network.
This is Bill Duke, and you're watching the Black Star Network.
Let's go. All right, folks, repairs of the breach, Bishop William Barber, they are now approaching the White House gate. Let's go live. Want to hear what's happening there, the exchange that they have with the Secret Service. Let's go.
We're standing hand in hand, we shall not be moved, just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're fighting gerrymandering. We shall not be moved. We're fighting gerrymandering. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're standing for peace and we shall not be moved. We're standing for peace and we shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're crying no more war and we shall not be moved. We're crying no more war and we shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're standing together. We shall not be moved. We're standing together. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We stand in solidarity. We shall not be moved. We stand in solidarity. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We stand for living wages. We shall not be moved. We stand for living wages. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water. We shall not be moved. So go tell the president. We shall not be moved. I said go tell the let go. Tell the Congress we shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Oh, I said we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. Well, we have our minds made up. We shall not be moved. I said we have our minds made up. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We're standing with the homeless. We shall not be moved. We're standing with the homeless. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We stand for education. We shall not be moved. We stand for education. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We're standing for daycare. We shall not be moved. We're standing for daycare. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. I said we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We're fighting racist politics. We shall not be moved. We're fighting racist politics. We shall not be moved. Oh, just like a tree planted by the water, we shall not be moved.
Yeah. We want everybody, all the clergy, to come in this circle with those who were intending to put their bodies on the line. If there are any other clergy that will come into this circle, the rest of you all will circle around us. As we tell folk, we never come to get arrested. We come to arrest the attention of the nation. And that means that our primary goal, some people just think nonviolence is just getting handcuffs put on, but nonviolent civil disobedience
is all of this. Your protest is nonviolence. This would be your prayers. Help me with this mic. Your prayers. When a minister goes to the pulpit, both in the sanctuary and in the public square, it's a form of nonviolence. Right? When we choose to vote a certain way, when we speak out, when we truth-telling is the most radical thing you can do in a season of lies. Right, Bishop, just telling the truth. You know, Jeremiah said they all are lying. Somebody got to tell the truth. So we understand that some decisions have been made to, quote unquote, not arrest anybody, even though known it. But that's okay, because that's a victory. You see, when the system decides that if they arrest you, it's going to make too much noise. That really is a victory. Huh? But what some folk, whoever made the decision, don't understand, we're going to still keep coming. And more people coming, because we are not just trying to do something here. Do y'all know in 16 states, folk are doing the same thing? And folks said, when we first had to tell you, they said, well, it is not going to work in D.C. 7 weeks today. 7 weeks. And all of you who are clergy, if we skip next week, will you come back the following? We're going to come back the following. Huh? And bring one more before Memorial Day. And we want to bring in, and I want to say to folk and clergy, this is the time to release your congregations and whatnot, because we are arresting the attention. Do you know that one of the Star Network has over 2 million viewers that did us live stream today? Do you know that when we did press conference recently in North Carolina, it went viral? It went viral. Do you know how much power we got to be standing out here in the middle of rush hour in D.C.? Y'all just crazy. We just in the middle. Love is so powerful. We just in the middle of it, and we got police protection. Here we are in the middle of the street. We ain't like January 6th. We ain't about. We got in middle in Washington D.C. on a Monday. After Mother's Day, during rush hour, y'all done took the street. Come and got police protection. That's all right. And that's a sign. And whoever is around says, don't touch them. Cause they ain't gonna do them and go to jail. They'll give you the hand. They're not gonna fight. They're not gonna tear anything down. But if you touch them, then it's only going to draw more. It's going to be magnetic. So whoever thought we might do something crazy just to get arrested, we're not do that. We'll just be back. Be back. And I do want to ask the clergy in Washington D.C. Bishop, I would love for us on one more Monday to find one of the biggest sanctuaries we could have, and have the biggest mass interracial, interfaith worship service on a Mall Monday. You think y'all could pull that off, Bishop? I mean, I'm talking about just like pack the whole church and put speakers up so that it's outside. If it take 3 weeks to get it done, y'all tell the date, right? And then and we get one close enough that then we leave the church and take the street again and have some more police protection. But how many of you all will shout what Hannah said? And Reverend Roland, my wife, she said something when we first came. She said, "Stop the war, save lives." Say that. Stop the war, save lives. And then Hannah said something. She said, "We ain't going nowhere." She got it off her grammar a little bit, but that's good. Can we say that? We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going nowhere. We are not going anywhere. That's the consequence.
This is what you get when you keep messing with folks. And then finally, I want y'all to look at the diversity, the other victory. Look at this crowd out here. Look at your family. Now, you didn't grow up with these folks. They didn't come out the same womb. But look at the diversity. The diversity. Just look at it. You know, and I want to close us this way. I'm going to ask a couple of ministers to lead 2 prayers and go say. But what I want you to do for just a second, I want you to look around and find somebody that you don't know, but you're glad that they are standing with you in this moment, and go grab them. Just go grab them and let's redo this circle. Go find somebody you don't know. You don't know them, and meet them. You don't know. You can move around. Just keep the circle.
Washington, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to be seen.
It's like 2,300, I think.
I need about 10 clergy to come in the inner circle. Black and white, Episcopalian, Christian, Methodist, Jewish, 10 clergy to come right here. Some years ago, and this is come on, Bishop, because I'm going to ask you to lead us in prayer. Where's the other bishop that been coming? Bishop Hurst. We want the 2 bishops to bless us. Y'all stand right here in just a second. I come out of tradition, y'all, that sometimes when things get real, when we were doing this, I don't know who y'all is. I saw it somewhere. We were down in Atlanta. Okay, we were in Atlanta, and we came out of the Pentecostal tradition, and we were in a justice stand where people didn't know it, but we started singing this song. It says, yes. That's all it is. It's just yes. Yes. Now I can't tune it. I'm going to let somebody tune it that can. And then we started saying, justice, justice, justice. And then we started singing, we will stand. 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 And we said, my soul says, yeah. Oh, how y'all know that? It's Pentecost. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. 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 Now watch it. How many of y'all never done that before? But you see what I'm talking about? See how Pentecost is? You've never done it before. Come on, let's do it. No turning back. 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 Yes, we will win. 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 Love on our side. Love on our side. Love is 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 on our side. Stop the violence. 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 Last 2. It's our time. It's our time. Come on. It's our time. 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 So we will fight. So we will fight. we will fight. So 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 we will fight. My soul says yes. 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 Bishop at Zion, then our dear Episcopal Bishop that closes. Yes.
Let us pray. Some trust in horses. I hear you. Some trust in men. But we come in the name of the Lord. Yeah. We come as united body. Yeah. No one greater than the other. Yes. But we come to speak against violence of every form and fashion. Yes. We serve notice right now to this president and this administration. We ain't tired yet. We're not going to be weary in well-doing, for we're going to reap in due season if we faint not. For we heard your word say that they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, and our strength is renewed today. Lord, you saw fit to let the weather forecast be different. You held back the rain because you said repairers of the breach have a mission to do. They come in the name of the Lord. Thank you, Lord, for giving us even divine protection, but also police protection. Lord, they don't even know they're going to be blessed by what they did today. They think they're doing their job, but they're doing the work of the Lord. For there's a message that had to be preached, a message that had to be said and displayed today, and we pray your divine favor. Lord, I pray for the president. I pray for a renewing of his mind. I pray, Lord, for those who are elected officials, that they will come and realize that they are not for themselves or any racist agenda, but they come, Lord, for the people of America and for the rest of the world. So, Lord, touch their hearts where they are right now. And, Lord, whoever had the wise idea not to arrest us today, they don't even know that they are working on the Lord's side. That, Lord, their resistance to us means that you are lifting us up today, not above you, but to be able to carry forth a mission and a mandate that we are going to be followers of righteousness. Now, Lord, be with us, give us unusual favor, and start a revival right here in Washington, D.C. It ain't about a denomination or religion. It's about what's right in the name of the Lord. So, Lord, have your way, and we give your name the glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
We come in the name of love.
Yes.
By a power greater than any war machine has ever known.
Yes.
And by that love we stand, we pray, we fight.
Yes.
For the sake of others who cannot for themselves. And so by that love we have come, by that love we are here, and by that love we go. To do more of your work, dear Lord. Bless us and keep us. May your face shine on us and be gracious to us. May you look upon us with favor and give us your peace.
Peace. Amen.
Yivarechach Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yer Adonai panav elecha. Yisha Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Amen.
Do we have a Muslim brother or sister here? We honor every tradition. And my brothers and sisters, it will go down in history the day that several hundred of you took the streets during rush hour in D.C. on Monday. And God put it on the bishop's spirit to say that a revival, a public theological revival, would begin out of this moment.
Amen.
Now, we got some work to do. We've got 11 million names of poor and low-wage people that have been infrequent voters, and if just 20% of them vote, it shifts everything.
That's right.
If you would be interested in helping to talk to them through text and others,
you can go to, where's that number, Repairs of the Breach, and sign up.
32846.
32846, those of you listening, text it or go to Breach Repair. Text moral to what?
32846.
Because we put legs on our prayer.
Yes. Yeah.
And legs on. Now, how many of you all will come back one more time?
One more time.
Come on, and bring some more folk one more time. And be ready for the armbands one more time. And they probably going to do the same thing one more time. But we're going to claim victory every time.
Every time.
You know, like I know you had never heard of nobody taking the street beside the White House in rush hour and they not get arrested. Now, come on. And instead they get protected by the very forces that ought to be arresting them. Somebody ought to shout real, real loud for the victory we claim today. And that's a sign. And by the way, it never rains on Mall Monday. It never rains on Mall Monday since 2013. Listen, we thank God for every one of you. Hook up with that website. And let me say this finally before Matt repair. Let's give Hannah a tremendous Reverend Jackson with Alvin and Clinton and Denise and all the organizers. But we, repairers of the breach, the one thing you can be sure of, we're not in the business of building up a bunch of branches of repairers. We are a training body. What we do is when folks say they want to engage in moral fusion organizing, look at things through a moral lens, then what we do is come alongside and help to do that. We make that promise to you because we recognize it's going to take all of us.
Amen. Amen.
A remnant of all of us.
Yes.
But that remnant will be, in many ways, the salvation of this nation, this democracy, and even from civilization. I said this last word. I got a call today from the president of the World Council of Churches.
All right.
And he said in his letter to us just before we came out here that we have sent this out all over the world. We've got people tuning in. We're praying with you all over the world. And we want you to join us in Berlin in June to talk to the World Council about how this kind of moral fusion must be a part of challenging authoritarianism around the world. We are making, you're on that board, so you're man. So thank God for every one of you all, and we're going to step out of the streets because we've already today arrested the attention of the nation, and we will not stop. Hannah, you got anything else you want to say?
Let's give thanks to Reverend Barber.
Where are those young folk that spoke today, too? Before we go, there was Lily and Jamaica, they're young. I call them young. Y'all come up here. Anybody under 25, come up here. I mean, 29. Yeah, I'm talking about 29. If you're under 20.
All right, folks, Bishop William Barber there with his closing comments with this. They started, of course, here at 16th and H and then made their way to in front of the White House. Gary Chambers from Louisiana joins us right now. And Gary, one of the things that we often talk about is the importance of staying at it. And so you heard Bishop talk about 7 times they've had Moral Mondays. This thing started in North Carolina. It knows every single Monday and it builds. And a lot of people, Gary, often want that one hit. They want that one dopamine hit. Thousands of people there. But the only way we change this is if we have consistent organization and mobilization to get people out to vote.
Absolutely. You know, it is a full-time job to educate and inform the people. And if we want people to stay engaged, you've got to continue to stay engaged with people. Too often you hear people say all the time that people only show up when it's election season. And so people like Reverend Barber have set the example of what the standard should be in every community, that we are actively engaging people, that door knocking is a consistent thing, that voter education, because you can't mobilize a voter that you haven't first educated.
Absolutely. And, I'm always talking about how we have to educate, enlighten, empower, and inform. And what we're looking at as we speak, we look at how this MAGA Supreme Court doing the work of Republicans, allowing them to move forward with these maps in Louisiana, in Alabama. We see what they did in Tennessee. They're about to go after Clyburn's seat in South Carolina. And the only way to counter this is if you have a mass turnout. You have been reporting every single day, going on social media, reading those numbers, and I saw you imploring people, saying in a lot of those places where black folks are, they got to turn out. And I heard it picked up Friday and Saturday, and we were just showing Lower Thursday how many ballots have already been cast. But this is the moment. This is the moment that if you're black in Louisiana, this is an attack on you. This is an attack on black political power. This is them saying we want to relegate black people to second-class citizenship in Louisiana, and the only way you stop that MAGA Governor Jeff Landry is you kick his ass at the ballot box.
That's 110% right, Roland. And so right now in the state of Louisiana, on Saturday, there's an election. 8% of black voters, or 9% of black voters in the state of Louisiana went to early vote. 8% of white voters in the state of Louisiana went to early vote. So that tells you that there are black people in the state of Louisiana that are locked in and paying attention. In the early vote turnout, black people made up 35% of the early vote turnout. We want to see black people showing up at that level because we make up about 33 or 34% of the turnout. So when you see us showing up at the level in which we represent in the population, that gives a higher probability that black people and the issues that we care about will move forward on the ballot. These 5 constitutional amendments are all bad for the people of Louisiana. Anything that Jeff Landry is doing is clearly not a benefit to black people. Anybody who gets on 60 Minutes last night and says that we are due equal rights but not extra rights, he believes that we are getting extra rights to have fair representation. And so if you want to send a message to the governor, you send that message immediately. Right now, May 16th, there's an election. Showing up at the ballot box and killing his 5 constitutional amendments ensures that he has a rough road to re-election in 2027.
But you just said something in terms of when you said 35% of the turnout. But this is the thing that I keep saying. I'm not just interested in 35% of the turnout. I want to see a higher intensity. The reality is this here. If white voters stay here, Gary, and if black folks are voting at 70, 80, 85% of our capacity, that means we actually will make up a higher share of those folks who are turning out. That's the difference. We can't get happy with 52 or 55 or 57%. I keep saying the minimum number of black turnout should be 70% of eligible black voters hitting the polls.
You are absolutely right, Roland. Right now in Caddo Parish, which is where Shreveport is, I'm looking at these numbers. In Caddo Parish, where Shreveport is, 5,606 black people went to vote. There's 66,000 black people on Saturday in Shreveport that can go early vote in Caddo Parish. When you look at East Baton Rouge Parish, 14,864 black people went to go early vote. There's 113,920 black people in East Baton Rouge Parish that can go early vote. Caddo Parish, one of the bullet points there, black voters outvoted white voters by about 60 or 70 votes in Caddo Parish. That is because black people are now having a conversation with their friends and family members and say, hey, did you go vote? If I'm telling you that 9% of black people in the state of Louisiana went to go vote, for every 10 black people you see, 9 of them did not go vote. So you should have a conversation with those 9 people and say, how bad do you want it? How much do they have to take from you before you get up off your ass and do something about it? And when you look at places like Jefferson Parish, for instance, where 6,450 black voters have gone to vote, 65,000 black people who live in the suburbs of New Orleans have the opportunity to go early vote. How bad do you want it, or do you want an oppressor to continue to oppress you?
Absolutely. And listen, we see Republicans who want to get rid of the congressional seat there in Louisiana. Now, before I go to my panel with questions for you, Gary, these 5 constitutional amendments, tell everybody what they are, and you say black folks should be voting no every single one.
So Constitutional Amendment number 1 is about public service employees, about doing something with the Public Service Commission, giving them the ability to get rid of positions and jobs, or more easily target people that are members or employed by the government in public service positions. The other portions of the Constitutional Amendments, Constitutional Amendment number 2 is about East Baton Rouge Parish attempting to have a new school district in St. George, which is the majority white breakaway portion of East Baton Rouge Parish that started a 70% white city. They caused the city of Baton Rouge to have a $50 million budget deficit as a result of them starting this city. And so if they start this school district, we can anticipate losing 5 schools as well as millions of dollars in investment into our school district. Constitutional Amendment number 3 is about restructuring education funds. They want to take money out of these savings accounts and give teachers, which have a stipend right now, they want to make that stipend permanent, but they'll be eliminating that savings account, which is a rainy day fund that gives educators the ability to pay for retirements and things of that nature. And it will change the way that teachers go get their raises. So instead of coming to the state to get their pay raises, they'll be broken up to go to the 64 parishes to get their pay raises. Constitutional Amendment number 4 is allows local parishes to decide to reduce property taxes for businesses. This would benefit businesses. So they want to give the ability to take the property tax of a company and reduce it, but they're not reducing your property taxes. And the last constitutional amendment, Roland, is about increasing the age of those that are on the judiciary, giving them the ability to run until 75. I am a no on all 5 constitutional amendments. I'm not against having experienced judges, but at a certain point, we need to send those judges home.
Last point here. Now, the congressional races are not on the ballot, but there are other elected positions that are still on Saturday's ballot, correct?
You have the U.S. Senate race that is still on the ballot for this Saturday. And so if you are an independent, you have the ability to choose in the primary which side you want to vote on, whether you want to vote on the Republican side or the Democratic side to influence those elections. And if you're a Democrat, you have the opportunity to go vote for Jamie Davis, who is running for the U.S. Senate here in Louisiana.
Questions from my panel. Nicole, you're first.
So we know that, unfortunately, young people sometimes don't show up to vote. Are you seeing excitement and passion from young Black people in Louisiana to show up for these elections?
So I just had a town hall a week ago, and I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of young Black men who showed up to be in the conversation and be aware of what's going on. Young men in their 20s showing up to the state capitol on Friday as well to have their voices be heard. Do I think that we need to increase those numbers? Absolutely. But I do think that young people are becoming aware of this situation. The question for us with young people is, what do we do about it? And I think that we, as those that have the influence and the understanding of the strategic things that are taking place, have to be able to give a blueprint and a direction, because having them show up is one part. Having them be able to activate in ways that are meaningful is the next step.
Thelma.
Good evening, Gary. First and foremost, I just want to commend you on all of the hard work that and dedication you continue to pour into not only Louisiana, but the country as a whole. I am a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, so I am proud every time I get to see you put belt to ass on these people. But my question is, with the younger generation and the older generation, how important is technology being merged into grassroots efforts in order for us to get the turnouts that is going to stop our oppressors from doing what they intended on doing when they created Project 2025?
I think that what we have to our advantage is technology. If Dr. King and Malcolm X had all of the tools that we have at their disposal 50, 60 years ago, there's no telling how fast they could have transformed much of the obstacles that they had against them. I think even now, the ability for us to make a conversation, a rapid conversation for the entire country and even the world is to the benefit of us using technology. I think we look at history in a way where we say, say, oh, this happened there, and they mobilized as quickly. I don't think that those mobilizations happened as quickly. They took a lot more time to plan. Today, because of technology, we're able to communicate at a much faster pace. We're able to take the guardrails off as well to be able to directly communicate with people in a more effective way, which I think helps younger and older people. I was in my neighborhood the other day. Somebody was here doing something on my car, and an older group was doing some walking. The ladies were about 80 years old, and they spoke. We said good afternoon and everything, and they got a few steps away, and the sister said to me, oh, you're not on the internet today informing us, huh? I said, I got to get this taken care of. So that's an 80-year-old black woman that's on her walk that's also using social media and technology to get her information. And so I think that we've got to make sure that we don't just limit the people that we think are watching us. We've got to make sure that we're putting the information out there where everybody can pick it up, because you don't know who's going to share it and help mobilize more people for you.
Omekongo.
Mr. Chambers, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. My question, we talk so much about the black and white dynamics of this, but given your on-the-ground work that you're doing daily, not just in Louisiana, but just everything you know about going on in the country, what are you seeing as it relates to non-black and white communities, Latino communities, Asian communities? Are you finding that they're also speaking up now, or have always been speaking up, or are still staying on the sidelines a bit? What are you seeing?
I think that there's a lot of excuse making that happens for communities that are not black. We get to allow them to have a lot of debate about this. But ICE, I think, being on Hispanic communities and immigrants communities have made them have a awakening of sorts. My hope is that this awakening that they are having is not short-lived, that they can remember the sting of what is taking place today, that they will understand that this will be a recurring issue later on down the line if you realign with these people in the future. But people being deported, folks that are business owners being impacted, there's a lot of conservatives who own companies who have Hispanic employees or immigrant employees that have come to this country that are on work visas, and some of them not on work visas, who've been hemmed up by this immigration process that I think has made many of those people look at this process and say, maybe we should reconsider. Jeff Landry is not polling at 39% in Louisiana because black people alone don't like him. He's polling at 39% in Louisiana because his decisions are disagreeable to the average Louisianan, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, or any other demographic. You recognize when something's good, and you also recognize when something's bad for everyone.
Gary, final question for you. We've been talking, of course, about the importance of African Americans mobilizing, organizing. But what about white folks in Louisiana? Are you seeing efforts made by white folks to register white folks to get them to wake up and see what's going on? Because the reality is the policies of MAGA Governor Jeff Landry are screwing over a whole bunch of white folks. We see the attack on New Orleans constantly. When New Orleans, frankly, without New Orleans, Louisiana is truly a broke state, just like Jackson in Mississippi as well. And so are you seeing anything where white folks, what is the new mayor of New Orleans doing? What is Mitch Landrieu doing? What are white Democrats or white independents doing in Louisiana to counter this MAGA insurgency?
Roland, I was on a Zoom last week with Mitch Landrieu, and that's the only person that I can say currently that is a white Democrat that I've seen that's of his stature that's been out here. There's, of course, some state representatives that are in the legislature that are white Democrats that are being vocal and standing up. I do believe that the mayor of New Orleans could do a better job. She is, from what I have seen, done most of her communications on social media. I haven't seen her do a whole lot of press conferences. She has a huge bully pulpit that she could use to lean in on this issue. I think she could do more than a social media video. I think that she could be aggressively advocating on these issues, because it has impacted New Orleans. Has been a massive target in the process of this by Jeff Landry and his administration and the state legislature. But what has happened is Republicans in the legislature have all of a sudden become friendly with the mayor's office in New Orleans because the mayor's white. Now, that is maybe to the benefit of some of her plans, but is it to the benefit of black people in New Orleans if they are constantly stripping away black people's ability to lead in this state? There's a conversation that's happening, Roland, around football and whether or not black players should continue to play at these universities. Well, Calvin Duncan, whose seat was taken away in New Orleans, got a law degree. So if you're a football player at LSU, you're good enough to run on the field, but you're not good enough to run for office. You're good enough to play and shoot a basketball, but you're not good enough to shoot your shot for a congressional seat, because they're going to take away the seat that gives the ability for black people to serve. And so if we're not actively leaning in on LSU and on Tulane and these institutions and even the streaming services that provide them, ESPN and the platforms that distribute the information to our communities, I think that's where we got to lean this conversation in some ways, because that's where mayors and business leaders and other white people within the state of Louisiana, they give a damn about the money they're making. So maybe we need to start touching in on some of that money.
When is early voting over, or when does it end?
Early voting is over. Election day is Saturday, so it's on us through the next 4 or 5 days to communicate with everybody as possible in this state to get them to get off their ass and show up on Saturday.
Absolutely. What time do the polls open on Saturday?
7 a.m. Saturday morning.
All right. Gary Chambers, we surely appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you, Roland.
Folks, going to a break. We come back. Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble and more on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to be able to travel. This week, we're going to be in Connecticut on Thursday, there with Dr. Steve Perry, broadcasting live from there. Then we're going to travel to Montgomery, Alabama on Friday, do the show from there on Friday. And then, of course, we're covering the national event, mass mobilization taking place on Saturday at 1 p.m. Folks, if you want to contribute via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. If you are listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com to contribute. You can use that button for Cash App as well as for credit cards. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal's R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, welcome to The Other Side of Change, only on the Black Star Network and hosted by myself, Bria Baker, and my good sis, Jamira Burley. We are just two millennial women tackling everything at the intersection of politics, gender, and pop culture.
And we don't just settle for commentary. This is about solution-driven dialogue to get us to the world as it could be and not just as it is.
Watch us on the Black Star Network, so tune in to The Other Side of Change.
What's happening? This is your man, Motown recording artist Kim. You are watching the Black Star Network.
Folks, time for Black Star Network headlines with Brittany Noble.
Well, attorneys for Cole Allen, the suspect in the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting, are seeking the recusal of top Justice Department officials from direct involvement in the prosecution because they could be considered victims or witnesses in the case, creating a potential conflict of interest. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche and U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro were both in attendance at the April 25th event when Allen allegedly tried to storm the ballroom at the Washington Hilton. And because of this, Allen's attorneys argue that they should not be making any prosecutorial decisions in the case. Allen was reportedly armed with a shotgun, a handgun, and multiple knives. He appeared in court this morning to enter a not guilty plea on all 4 charges brought against him. These charges include attempting to assassinate President Donald Trump, transporting firearms across state lines, discharging a firearm during an act of violence, and assaulting law enforcement officers. Well, 2 Black Mississippi men, Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker, are suing Rankin County Supervisor Steve Gaines for defamation. They allege that Gaines publicly referred to them as rapists and drug addicts, despite neither man having been charged or convicted of such crimes. The complaint was filed on May 6 against Supervisor Steve Gaines on behalf of Jenkins and Parker. This lawsuit follows the recent $2.5 million settlement reached between the Rankin County Sheriff's Department and the two men in the police brutality case. Back in May of 2025, leaked audio revealed Gaines discussing the county's settlement in that case. And in the recording, he could be heard saying that the sheriff's attorney beat the pants off those guys, the dopers, the people that rape and dope your daughters. He beat their pants off. Jenkins and Parker argue that Gaines wrongfully accused them of rape and drug offenses, framing them in a highly offensive and false light, especially since the comments were recorded and circulated by news outlets. Last year, Gaines claimed that his comments were not aimed at anyone specific. And in 2023, Jenkins and Parker were subjected to torture and beatings by a group of deputies in a no-knock raid. The lawsuit details horrifying series of events that led to a brutal beating, sexual assault, and significant damage to Jenkins' jaw after he was shot in the mouth. In 2024, the 6 officers involved in these actions, they were sentenced to prison terms ranging from 15 to 45 years. Well, Google has settled with Black employees who allege systemic racial disparities in hiring, pay, and advancement. The lawsuit was filed in 2022 by April Curley, a former Google employee who accused the tech giant of racial discrimination, claiming it follows a pattern and practice of unfair treatment toward its Black workers. The lawsuit stated that the company directed Black employees into lower level and lower paid positions and created a hostile work environment for those who spoke out about their experience. Other former Google employees joined the lawsuit, which later gained class action status. Google has reportedly settled the lawsuit for $50 million, which also includes measures of pay transparency. The company asserts that the settlement does not constitute an admission of liability. Former Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson's request for a sentence reduction has been denied in Illinois. Grayson is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for the second-degree murder of Sonia Massey, having received the maximum penalty for the crime. On July 6, 2024, Grayson shot and killed Massey, claiming he felt threatened by a pot of hot water she was holding when he responded to her 911 call about a possible prowler. Prosecutors tried to secure a first-degree murder conviction, which could have resulted in a life sentence, but the Peoria jury convicted Grayson of the lesser charge of second-degree murder. On Friday, Judge Ryan Cadigan denied Grayson's murder motion for a reduced murder sentence, a decision that Grayson's attorney has indicated he will appeal. The body of a Black American soldier who went missing during a training exercise in Morocco has been recovered. First Lieutenant Kendrick Lamont Key Jr.'s body was found on Saturday. He was one of 2 U.S. service members who disappeared just over a week ago in the waters off Morocco's southern coast near the Cap Dre training area. Army officials are still searching for the second serviceman, who has not yet been identified. Both service members were participating in African Lion. That's an annual training exercise. They were part of a group that went on a hike to watch the sunset when one soldier, who was known not to be able to swim, fell into the water. Defense officials stated that the second missing soldier jumped in an attempt to rescue him, but was then hit by a wave. It remains unclear if Key was the soldier who fell or the one who attempted the rescue. The 27-year-old was from Richmond, Virginia, and served as an air defense artillery officer. An Iranian official claims that Trump rejected a peace proposal that was reasonable and generous. In contrast, President Donald Trump describes the proposal as totally unacceptable. Iran's asserted that it made legitimate demands in its latest formal response to the U.S. peace proposal, but this response has stalled negotiations to end the war after Trump rejected it. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Imasil Baghei stated that Iran's demands include ending the war, lifting the U.S. blockade, and the release of assets belonging to Iranian people, which have been unjustly trapped in foreign banks for years. On Monday, the front pages in Iran, a nation governed by the Islamic Republic, portrayed the possibility of resuming the war with the U.S. and Israel. The headlines emphasized military preparedness, including warnings that Washington would pay a heavy price if fighting were to resume, along with the firm insistence that Iran would not capitulate under pressure. Well, passengers from a cruise ship affected by a virus have been flown back to their home countries for monitoring. Earlier today, 17 Americans on board the MV Honduras arrived in the United States. They first landed at an Air Force base in Omaha, Nebraska, and were transferred to the National Quarantine Center at the University of Nebraska. The cruise ship anchored on Sunday near Tenerife in Spain's Canary Islands. The passengers were escorted off the vessel by personnel dressed in full protective gear and breathing masks. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has sent a team of medical professionals to Spain to assess the risk of exposure for each American passenger. So far, 3 individuals associated with the cruise have died. 6 others have confirmed or suspected cases of the virus remain in quarantine. Virginia native Destiny Spurlock has officially become the first Black woman to compete in one of NASCAR's top 3 national series after making her NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series debut this week at Watkins Glen International. That's in New York. The 34-year-old Richmond native began her career in motorcycle drag racing at just 17 years old before building a name for herself in the NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Competition. Spurlock says she fell in love with racing as a child after riding motorcycles with her parents and watching NASCAR races near Richmond International Raceway with her grandparents. Earlier this year, she also made her ARCA debut, finishing 10th at Kansas Speedway. Roland?
All right, Brittany, thanks a bunch. Folks, don't forget, if you want to watch the breakdown of Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern, right here in the Black Star Network. Again, the breakdown of Brittany Noble, our noon news show. Catch it every day, noon Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network. Congo, Thelma, and Nicole, earlier we were talking about these cases and how the Supreme Court, they vacated the second Milligan decision, that's in Alabama, and remanded it to the district court. Now, here's what's crazy, okay? So in that ruling almost a couple of weeks ago, they claimed that if there was intentional discrimination, then they can still pursue that. Well, here's the problem. The lower court actually said there was, quote, intentional discrimination claim. They literally said it. And there was intentional discrimination in Alabama. But because of this Clay decision, the Supreme Court says, nah, sorry, we're just going to go ahead and move it out of the way. So what the hell was that ruling? So they claimed you can still sue if there was intentional discrimination. The lower court said it was. They've now said, nah, we're going to move on. So they basically said the Voting Rights Act is essentially dead. That's exactly what they decided. Not only that, in Mississippi, a federal judge had ordered Mississippi to redraw its state Supreme Court map, finding it to be racial discriminatory. He was going to call for new elections in the fall. Guess what? The Fifth Circuit has now vacated the judge's ruling as a result of the Clay decision. Again, I thought, according to Alito's opinion, if you can show intentional discrimination, then you can move forward. They don't even care about intentional discrimination, Congo.
I mean, when you put it out there, so simple, it's just blatant, right? They are focused primarily on just protecting the rights of white people who favor them. So anything that is considered racist against white men, white privileged white men, look at what they're doing with the EEOC, right? In terms of, white men filing these racial discrimination suits. That's their definition of racism now. They don't look at anything relating to racism as it relates to us. I mean, look at what Brett Kavanaugh did as it relates to what we call the Kavanaugh searches with people who are Latino. Said that it's okay to profile them depending on where they look, or how they look, their accent, if they're out of a 7-Eleven or Home Depot. So they've made it comfortable and they made it fine, perfectly legal to discriminate against every other group except white people and specifically white men. And the Supreme Court is the primary representative of that right now in every single way, shape, or form. And when are people going to wake up? We just saw what Reverend Barber did, with his cane and with his, and out there in those streets. What are we doing? What are we doing to have his back? What are we doing to have your back, Roland? What are we doing to have Gary Chambers back and so many other people? This Supreme Court, they are blatant and they are flagrant in every single thing that they're doing. And anybody who thought that there was going to be some modicum of neutrality, some modicum of respect for the process as it relates to, creating a community where everybody can be celebrated and not tolerated, they are focused on removing the rights of non-white cisgendered men. And this is what it looks like in real time. And we are up. We got to get up to fight this for real.
Thelma, this is how pathetic these people are. Okay, this right-wing Supreme Court is allowing Alabama Republicans to change their congressional map, even though absentee balloting has already started. But remember, in Texas, they said, "Oh, in December, it's too late to do anything for the March primary." They ruled in December that, oh my goodness, it's too late to do anything about Texas map for March. It was 3 months away, but Alabama, you're 1 week away. Sure, go right ahead.
Roland, the amount of pressure, I just want to strangle this nonsense, because we used to be able to look to the Supreme Court to be consistent in how they operate the rule of law. This is the most erratic, dysfunctional, unethical, disgruntled freaking Supreme Court that I've ever seen. And I ain't been here that long, okay? I ain't gonna tell my age. But when we're looking at the fact that they want to cherry pick what matters, we know why. It's because they are scared. They are scared. They thought that the plan that they had in place was the plan that was going to lead them into their victory for years and decades to come. But when people woke up, and you don't want to wake up the people, because when the people wake up, we wake shit up. And for the Supreme Court to talk about the intent, and when we know what intent means, it means you show the actions of a person, the patterns of a person, the words, the behaviors. That is what intent is. So now they've even stripping what intent is. And that's insane, especially in the rule of law. I'm used to, as a former prosecutor, being able to rely on the rule of law. Now, you telling me intent don't mean what intent mean? Do you know how dangerous that is for courtrooms around this country? When you take individuals in a courtroom, now they can say, well, the Supreme Court, they don't even know what intent mean. How you gonna tell me what intent mean? That wasn't my intent. So it is the most dysfunctional shit that I've ever seen. And the fact that MAGA has come in like the freaking hantavirus, it is insane. I don't even have words.
Nicole, it's simple. This right-wing Supreme Court literally overruled their own decision in Alabama. This Supreme Court ruled that, yes, Alabama discriminated against black people and ordered the creation of a second district. Now they're allowing them to get rid of that district, so they're overruling their own decision. Look, they're just doing whatever they want to. And so, yes, John Roberts can go to hell. This is an illegitimate court. This is a partisan court. Leader Jeffries called them that. And so, yeah, we don't listen. They want us to respect them. How can we respect you when you can't even respect your own precedent, your own decisions? And so guess what? Chief Justice John Roberts and Sam Alito and Clarence Thomas and Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Coney Barrett, all of them could kiss our collective asses, because what they're doing is shameful and despicable, and it is pathetic. And I'm telling you, to everybody who's watching and listening, the only way this changes is if we turn out in mass numbers, because these people are clearly saying we will do whatever the hell we want when we want it, because we are the Supreme Court and can't anyone tell us what to do.
At this point, the Supreme Court might as well just say that they want to stop black people from voting too, because we all see it happening. If you can't even rely on your own precedent to make a decision, the evidence is clear, okay? And it's a shame, because black people built this country. We are the reason why the United States has so much economic power, but they don't want us to have a voice. They don't want us to have a vote. They don't want us to have anything. This Supreme Court is almost as conservative as the Dred Scott Court, which said that black people weren't even humans. That is where we are right now. And I need people to wake up and realize that. They want us to be exhausted and tired and put our heads in the sand, but we are not going to do that. We're seeing protests in DC, early voting numbers in Louisiana that are looking good. So we need to keep showing up and protesting and making our voices heard, because we cannot let this Supreme Court, if we can even call it that anymore, get away with this mess.
I'm telling everybody right now, this is Master's Court. That's what they are. And I need everybody to understand, if you're black, they don't give a damn about you. And so we have got to check with every family member, every friend, every church member, every fraternity brother, sorority sister, Greek, non-Greek, does not matter, because they have to feel our wrath at the ballot box, and we have got to hit them with everything that we've got in order to show them that we're not going to take this thing lying down. I wrote my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. I predicted all of these things. I said this stuff was coming down. 2009, I said we're living in the age of white minority resistance. And people told me I was crazy. People said I was making too much because everybody else was getting all excited about, oh, we're living in a post-racial world. And I said, y'all are out of y'all damn minds. We're not living in a post-racial world with the election of President Barack Obama. No, that unleashed these white folks. And they said, no, hell no, we are not having this again. We're going to shut this down. And so we better understand what is going on. Nicole, thanks a lot. Thelma, thanks a lot. Congo, thanks a lot. Folks, we've been out here since 5 p.m. Eastern, so for almost 3 hours, covering Bishop William Barber's Moral Monday out here. It's a lot going on, y'all, and listen, we're going to be busy all week covering all of these issues. Again, we'll be live here in D.C. Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, we're going to be in Connecticut talking about how you have the top-ranked black charter school there. How are they denied opportunity to expand with another school? So we'll be live in Connecticut on Thursday. Pull the graphic up, please. We'll be live there on Thursday. And look forward to that with Dr. Steve Perry. We're going to be, again, at Cross Street AME Zion Church. Cross Street AME Zion Church. We want to pack the crowd out there in Middletown. Then we're going to travel to Montgomery, Alabama the next day. We'll do the show from Montgomery on Friday, because on Saturday we're going to be live, All Roads Lead to the South, the National Day of Action for Voting Rights. If you want more information, go to allroadsleadtothesouth.com. The event starts at 1 p.m. 1 p.m. We're going to be live at noon Central on that day. Now at 9 a.m. In Selma, they're going to begin with a faith prayer at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. We'll be covering that live on the Black Star Network. And then at noon from Montgomery, we'll be live there as well. So lots of things. It's a crazy busy week. These are crazy times, and we are committed to being on top of all of this stuff like no one else. Folks, if you want to support the work that we do, join our Bring the Funk fan club. Please, your dollars are critically important. We got to get 20,000 people to give on an average $50 each a year. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. That will then, of course, we do that as $1 million. That, of course, helps us be able to defray our expenses. Listen, we are hit right now. You see all of this gear. We had 3 or 4 staffers who were out here, and of course, our studio is 2 blocks away. But it's important for us to cover this sort of stuff, because guess what? Nobody from mainstream media was out here. In fact, there were no other black-owned media outlets out here as well. And so we're going where even black-owned media is not showing up. So your support is critical. If you want to contribute to us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here. That's also for credit cards. If you are listening, go to blackstarnetwork.com for ways to give. Checks and money order. Make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2033-70196. PayPal, R. Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, be sure to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag. Go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Shopblackstarnetwork.com for all of our merchandise. And if you want to support the black-owned businesses in our marketplace, also go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Everything is right there. All all these products you see in the studio, all these are black-owned companies, black-owned products, and so please support them at shopblackstarnetwork.com. Don't forget, folks, check out The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern, right here on the Black Star Network. The Breakdown with Brittany Noble every day, noon Eastern on the Black Star Network. Be sure to download the app Fan Base. Follow me at Roland S. Martin. You can catch me there as well. Folks, I hope y'all had a fantastic Mother's Day. I spent time, of course, with my parents yesterday, and so had a good time there as well, and so hope you enjoyed it. Folks, that's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here. Roland Martin. Roland Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.